Hello, everyone. Welcome to, I guess, our third live stream.
Third one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Over halfway there.
Yay!
Although I think my ebook said that we're like 68%, or I'm 68% through. So we're actually like 2/3 done.
Yeah, that looks about right.
Yep.
You can't, yeah, I guess you can't really see on mine.
Yep. Well, I will say I finally got interested. Finally.
Yay. I'm so happy.
Yay.
Took a long time, but it got there. It was when Esther's parentage was revealed. That's when I finally got interested.
Okay. I was wondering what part hooked you.
Yeah. Well, also, I was like, I pinpointed one part where I'm like, she's a murderer! And I'm very off base, I know. But it's Mrs. Snagsby.
That's funny. Yeah, this was a eventful section. We got a lot of forward momentum, which was like, finally, it just takes, you have to get after the 50% mark, I guess, to really start getting momentum.
Because a lot happened in this section.
Yeah, a lot did happen.
It was quite, like, I don't know, it was quite engaging as opposed to the previous ones. It was like each chapter was different and like disconnected, and now they're all finally feeling connected in some way.
Yes.
So it's still not gonna be my favorite book, but I'm enjoying it more now.
Yay, that's good. And then, I mean, we really don't have a lot. We don't have a lot left. I mean, no. I think the rest of the book is pretty much the fallout of what we know, I think.
Yeah. It's like 32% left, so it's got to be, I'm not sure how much is left in that, like how much story, because it's like, yeah, it's 32%, but it's also like 300 pages, at least in my copy. So
right.
That's a lot of pages to do.
True.
There's still gonna be a lot happening.
It's like a whole other book by modern book standards.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah.
I would say
Lou's here.
Hi, Lou. Yay.
So she's finished chapter 42. Almost there. Yeah, the story's moving along.
Yay.
For sure. Yeah. Sorry, I'm having to use my phone because my computer decided to be a giant baby. So I'm doing live stream on my phone. It's a little different. And Carmen's here. Hello.
Hey, Carmen.
So, yeah. What do we want to talk about for this section? Obviously, there's a big Esther reveal.
Yes,
that's content.
Big one.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say, I was about to throw the book when I was like, if Charlie dies, I'm going to throw this book. Like, if she dies, I'm done. Thankfully, she didn't.
So far. So far.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, honestly. How many dead bodies are there so far? There's like 3, right?
There's Nemo.
Yeah. And then there was the lawyer guy or whoever that was. And then the guy who spontaneously combusted.
Combusting guy.
Yes.
Too many names. But I don't remember them all.
Yeah, wait, who combusted again? I know someone combusted.
I think it was Crook. Wasn't it Crook that combusted?
It was Crook, of course. That's right. It was a more major character. That's right.
Yeah. Because they were like, he can't read. And then that next day, he's like disintegrated.
Yeah, that part was so gross. It was like goo coming from the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It's so gross. I was like, all of a sudden this became a horror novel. Like Dickens trying out mystery and horror in one go.
Yeah. That was interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, and I guess I like had to read it up afterwards, and I guess in the Victorian era they did think there were theories that was possible and that it happened. that people could spontaneously combust. So I found that just a really fun element that Dickens played with, and he thought, like, I'll just add this right here. This is how this character's gonna die. I think that's hilarious. It's a great choice.
Definitely a choice.
It was a strong choice.
It did add a bunch of character to him, right? Mr. Crook before was just like a crook, and now he's
the combusting guy.
I did notice, like, this time around, like, Lady Deadlock's name. I was like, oh, that's like
it makes sense now.
But like, it makes sense because she's stuck between these two positions and she's deadlocked. And I was like, it's interesting also. Did you notice that she's called Lady Deadlock and her husband's called Sir Leicester, sir? Like, he's not called Lord Deadlock.
That was confusing to me at first. I was like, why do they have different names?
But it makes sense now why she's being called Deadlock. At least to me.
Also, she had a baby out of wedlock.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I was like, I don't know if that was like the exact reason for his name, but yeah, Lady Deadlock had a baby out of wedlock. Yeah. And she's also deadlocked in her life. But
yeah. She's currently stuck between her daughter, who she doesn't want to reveal because of her husband, and her husband, who doesn't know about her daughter. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Mr. Weevil, which I was like, he sounds like a weasel. That name sounds so close.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, no one wants to be called a weevil.
Yeah. Interesting names now that are sticking. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Evil Mr. Weevil.
Yeah.
So I guess what I want to know is, what do you guys think will happen now with Esther, now that she knows where she came from and who her mom is? Like, what do you think Esther's going to do with that information?
I don't think Esther's going to do anything, but I think others will.
Going to do things. Yeah.
I feel like now that the secret is coming out because of Tulkinghorn, or is the secret not? Well,
Guppy was investigating it,
right?
Tulkinghorn, he knows. I think, like, that's what he's been trying to find out the whole time. The whole book is this connection, and so he is going to do something with the information or use it for blackmail. And to use it to control people, because we're told earlier in the book that that's what he does. He uses things over other people. So he has this leverage, and we're kind of like on the precipice of like what is going to happen with him having that leverage.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because I guess it wouldn't really benefit him for the secret to actually come out, because then he would lose his leverage over
exactly
powerful. So I was going to say, if the secret comes out, maybe Esther and her mom could actually have a relationship, because, well, she just didn't want to hurt her husband, Lady Deadlock. But if it's already happened, then maybe they could have a relationship. But if it doesn't come out, then I don't know.
Well, I think Esther's going to keep it a secret, but I think others are going to reveal it. Like, I don't think it's, from what I understand of Esther's character, which I've only been paying attention really for the last 200 pages now, because I've been interested before. But it feels to me like she's not going to be a blabbermouth about that kind of thing. Like, she's going to try to respect what her mom wanted. And with that, I'm like, she'll keep it a secret. But Mr. Guppy, I don't think he will. He might still feel like a lover scorned and try to like expose them. I don't know. Yeah. And then like Tulkinghorn definitely doesn't want the secret exposed, but I feel like Mr. Guppy's a lot more of a wild card. He could do anything with that information. So
yeah, Mr. Guppy is so despicable after that whole scene with like after he was like, oh, I never proposed to you, Esther. Like, your face is all messed up now, so I don't want anyone to know that I proposed to you. Like, what a garbage guy. So rude. He's a terrible person.
I'm glad Esther saw through him early on.
Yeah, thank goodness she didn't marry him. Yeah. Look.
Honestly. And it's interesting now that Esther has a assured position in the Jarndyce case. Like, because now she's related to someone who's in the case.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Now she has a strong tie.
yeah, and does Lady Deadlock have any other children? Or is it just Esther? Because that could also impact her future. If, like, she's the only possible inheritor of whatever.
Right. Yeah.
How
maybe
is
she's the only one.
how is Richard related exactly? Is he related to the Deadlock side or the Lester side, or is he on the other part?
He's connected to the Jarndyce case.
Yeah, he's one of the possible recipients of the Jarndyce case, but that's it.
His last name is what is it? Carstone? Something like that. Starts with a C. He has a different last name.
Yeah, Carstone.
Yeah, so no other kids for Lady Deadlock. So I feel like that could be something that could impact at least her future for the positive. But you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Mr. Guppy couldn't get out of that engagement fast enough, even though he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's a mean guy. I don't like him. Yeah. Like, you're not supposed to.
I don't think Esther's gonna end up with anyone, to be honest. I don't think she's gonna be in a relationship at the end of the book. Like, I don't think she's gonna get married or anything. Because it just feels to me very Dickens-like that she was proposed to and that she had she had some feelings for someone, and then she has smallpox and is scarred, and then she just ends up an old maid who, I don't know, takes care of Ada or something.
Well,
I don't know.
Alan Woodcourt is still in the eaves. Like we kind of can see they're sort of being pushed together. I think she might end up with Alan Woodcourt in the end, and that'll be Esther's happy ending, perhaps. That's my prediction.
I think if she ends up with anyone, she'll end up with him, but I don't know if she will end up with anyone. It feels, I don't know, kind of like a Dickens ending if she didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've been expecting more like tragedy because this is a Dickens. I don't feel like there's been like that much tragedy. I mean, there's been like sad, difficult things happening, but yeah, I kind of would fall on the side of there's gonna be more tragedy coming, especially at the end, but I don't know what yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rooting for Alan Woodcourt.
Yeah. It'd be nice if she had some happiness. I agree.
Yeah.
And I think she is written so that she's a very sympathetic character and you want happiness for her. So I could see Dickens going that direction and giving her a good life in the end.
And he's saying that she loves Richard and Esther's relationship or friendship. I think that Esther is wonderful right now, and Richard drives me crazy. That's just my opinion. I just don't. Yes. He's just he's such a gullible person in so many ways, and then he's not driven, and he's just definitely commentary there, I think.
Yeah, and luckily Ada still hasn't married him, so yay.
Mm-hmm. But he's planning on waiting for her. I just hate it when men won't take no as an answer in classics. It's like,
I know, every time he's like, "Oh, Ada, like, don't forget, we're still gonna do this." I'm like, "No, go away, leave her alone."
He doesn't want to be a part of your relationships right now. Yeah, it's interesting.
He made friends with what's his name, Skimpole. It's just like
the worst friend that Richard could have.
Bad choices.
Bad life choices.
It's just annoying. I'm so annoyed. And then like the whole Skimpole character, I'm like, you just need, a dose of reality. That's what you need.
I don't see how Jarndyce doesn't like speak to him the way Esther does. Like, I mean, we kind of all have to take responsibility. Esther actually tells him that. I'm like, why hasn't Jarndyce told him that?
It's true.
This guy needs to hear it.
Yeah, Esther doesn't need to hear it. Richard needs to hear it.
Yes, him too.
Yes. I like what reading between the seams says. Oh, sorry. He's entitled and gullible, which is a deadly combination. It could be very bad for his finances if he is both. But yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm just not impressed with the men in this book for the most part.
Yeah. There's a lot of issues.
Yeah.
I wonder about Jarndyce as a character, because he's sort of like, he's just kind of supportive of everyone around him, but like what, and like Esther is just like, thank you, Jarndyce, for being the best person in my life. Like Esther is so thankful to Jarndyce for what his influence in her life. But I'm wondering about, he's just kind of a like in the background character, but yet everything around the plot is about the Jarndyce case. Yeah. But he just seems like he just kind of like flutters in and out, and we don't get a lot of Jarndyce as a character. So been wondering what's gonna happen with him.
Yeah, he's an interesting one, because it's hard to tell what he is doing, because he's tied to such a big name thing, but then he's not like really present in the story. Right? Yes. Like he just pops in and leaves again, and it's not really consistent enough where you can follow it.
That's an interesting point, because I felt like that about Esther for so much of the story, and I still kind of feel that way about her, where she's like an observer, but she's more present than Jarndyce is.
She's more involved in like the plot itself, whereas Jarndyce is sort of this character on the outskirts, and yet everything is really about the Jarndyce case.
Right.
So,
yeah.
That is interesting.
It is.
I loved this scene. It was really sad, but I loved the scene with George and Mr. and Mrs.
Bagwell?
Yeah, Bagwell. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I felt like I really like George. He's probably like my favorite male character. Even though he's not a successful person, I still really like him. I like his character.
I liked how Caddy is her name, right? Miss Jellybee, and how she gets married, and then how her father gets to spend every evening at their house and just have some sanity. And it was like, this is wonderful. This is a man who deserves a bit of a break from his nagging, crazy wife. And he found some solace. He has his own little nook for quiet. I really liked that bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Caddy's done well for herself and her family.
But I'm wondering, because she was saying how her husband is not doing so well physically, so she's learning to be a teacher. I'm like, if he dies, like, she does not need that in her life too. Because you know what, Dickens, something's going to happen. Oh, well. This question by Andy. So she was engaged to the captain, and then was that accurate? And why didn't he marry her? It's interesting. I'm not sure. I can't remember all of those details, but I know there's something there that Lady Deadlock does not want to reveal.
I feel like obviously she got pregnant by him, and they didn't end up married.
Did he die?
He died.
Was he Nemo, or was that not?
Yeah, he was Nemo, yeah. So he did die, but not until quite a bit later.
Oh, right. We just saw him die. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they didn't end up getting married.
Yeah, that's a good question. I listened to the audiobook for a lot of this section, so I don't know if I missed anything. It's possible.
Same. I had to listen as well to catch up.
Yes. Last night I was like, I gotta get through like 5 chapters.
Thankfully, I only had 1 chapter left to read yesterday, because I managed to go through so much so quickly.
Good for you.
Much better with my timing.
Naomi.
Yeah.
Finally. It was interesting though, because when we first had Nemo be discovered as the body and no one knew who he was, my first thought was, isn't Nemo the name of like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, like the captain then?
Mhm.
And so that was my first thought, being like, that's an interesting tie. And like, I can't believe that would be a thing. So it's like, whatever. And that's like, well, if he was a captain, what like it's just
was that a reference?
Was it intentional? Was it? I don't know.
Well, when was 20 Leagues published? It's a Victorian novel.
It's a French written novel, but it could be Victorian era. I'm not sure.
Right. It's okay, we have to find out.
I don't know. It was just like, it's just so weird to me
No.
that was a combination. And then I had thought of it, and then I was like, oh, that actually was a thing.
It was
I am
published
going to
in
look it up.
1870.
Okay, so
Okay.
probably long after this.
Oh, Bleak House was first, wasn't it?
I think it was before 1870.
Publication.
I don't remember.
Yeah, no, Bleak House was 1852.
Okay, so just lucky
So-
coincidence, essentially.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, I guess we don't know if the name means anything necessarily.
It means no one. Nemo means directly means nobody, so it could have been
Okay.
maybe used for that reason also in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I don't know. I've never read that.
It's probably just a really lucky coincidence.
It could be. That's funny.
Yep.
More
There
research
are
is
some
needed.
theories here. So the captain wasn't approved by the family, maybe? That's always possible.
Oh. Mhm.
And then also he was described as a young rake. So that's also maybe not be approval worthy. So
Interesting.
yeah. And that would make sense then why she was so like fixated on his on the letter writing, or the person who wrote the papers. Because if she was so connected to him before.
Yes.
We definitely recognize that.
Yep. Explains it all.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what's going to happen coming up, to be honest. I'm like, I don't know what's going to be the big reveal.
Yes.
Oh, I feel like with a book like this, there's like 5 big reveals.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There better be, for at least there's almost 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
There's got to be some good payoff.
Carmen's asking, don't you love to hate Mr. Smallweed?
Yeah.
He's one of those quiet villains, I feel like. Mr. Guppy's more villainous on the, like, I don't know, from what you look at, but Mr. Smallweed's very villainous on the side. Just lurking.
Did we find out what happened to Joe?
Yeah.
We did. Okay, what happened to him? I missed that.
Joe dies.
He dies. So that's 4 bodies. Wow.
Yeah, but that's smallpox. It's not murder or spontaneous combustion.
He did not combust.
But yes, another body.
Joe
Because
dies.
he was very sick, and then he ran away from the house when he was really sick.
I knew that, but I didn't remember if we found out what happened after that.
Yeah.
He died. He was one of the tragic youth deaths that happens in Dickens.
Yeah. I feel like it also shows a good amount of like, it's going to have a big impact on the trial, I guess is how I'm trying to say, because if he was a witness for certain things that happened with Nemo's death, then anything that comes up in the future, if he's not there to witness it, then the trial's going to be different. Like, it's going to impact court in some way.
That's a good point. It seems like this the secret that Tulkinghorn and Guppy were really trying to use to their own advantage, things keep happening to prevent that. Like Joe, I mean, I guess Joe already gave his evidence by that point, so it was okay for them that he died. But I guess So I mean, then Crook combusts.
Yep.
Hmm.
And they still don't have the papers, right? They never got those
Right.
from Crook. So they're still on the hunt for those papers.
Right. And they tried to did they get them from George because of the pressuring him with his bills?
Oh, I don't remember if that was the thing that they got from him.
Oh, Carmen gives us a hint.
Yeah. Yes. Smallweed, I think he knows a lot more than he's letting on. Yep. Well, in my copy, I think I have like 275 pages left. So it should be interesting to see all that's revealed in 275 pages after we've read for over 600.
Yes. I think this next section is going to be a good one. This was a great section, too. I think the next section is going to be great.
Yeah, it just took a while to get there. Please for me.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, and he's a tool for Tulkinghorn. Yeah. I think Tulkinghorn also is one of those people who's like in the shadows of the book. He just pops up randomly, but you know he knows a lot more of what's going on than he lets on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he knows the big secret about Esther and Lady Deadlock. So I guess it makes you think like, what other things does Tulkinghorn know that he uncovered?
Yeah.
Yes.
What other blackmail has he uncovered in his career as a corrupt lawyer?
Yes. Because he keeps being described that way as like obsessed. So yeah, what has he done? I wonder if that has something to do with. No, probably not. I was going to say, I wonder if that has something to do with why Lady Deadlock didn't marry Captain Hawdon, but probably not.
Oh.
Because he would have already known if he had something to do with preventing their marriage. He would have known about Esther and everything.
Yeah. It's interesting because he just seems like he has his fingers in so many things.
Yeah.
But we don't know that much, actually.
It's hard to tell sometimes what is part of the plot and what is just Dickens kind of arranging it coincidentally to be correct, because there are so many coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also lots of places where it gets tied together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's another level to that. Like there is the plot and then there's the coincidences, but there's also like his social commentary. So it's like, is it because like Tulkinghorn is a villain, or is it because he's trying to show that like lawyers are corrupt and the system's corrupt, like the justice system and all that? Is that the point, or is it actually that this guy's a villain? Like, I think he actually is a villain, but it's hard to.
It's both.
It's hard to take the two apart sometimes.
It's both. He's part of the system. Yeah. He's part of the larger system that is corrupt, and then he also apparently his character works well in the corrupt system, and he does well for himself. So it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I just feel like with certain chapters, it's like, okay, is this section or is this like paragraph, wherever, a social commentary? Is it plot? Is it character development? Is it all three? Because it could be one or all or whatever.
Because some descriptions and character developments are literally just there because they're funny or something like that. Like they're not necessarily there for any other reason than to enjoy them because the writing is fun. So yeah. I guess in a book this long, it's really hard to pick out what's necessarily important. But I found it so enjoyable that I don't mind the excess so much, but I do feel like it's definitely like too long.
Well, isn't it like famous for Dickens? Sorry, isn't Dickens famous for being like 10 words instead of 2? You know?
Yeah.
If you can write a full page about it as opposed to just one sentence, he'll do it. So.
It's funny. I had Julio read just like the first paragraph of this, and he was like, "What he was like, what is this? It's just foggy. Like, and I was like,
it was foggy in London.
It's being told in a very beautiful way. And he was like, it's just foggy though.
Exactly.
He was like, this is why I can't read Dickens. He's not a reader though, so.
I think sometimes you have like those people who are like, I like the flowery writing, like Laini Taylor's writing. And I'm like, yeah, Dickens is like that from the Victorian era. Like he'll be like, I'll just add extra words and make it so pretty. And it's like, but it's just foggy.
Yeah.
You're describing fog.
Yeah. But, yeah, anyways.
I can't imagine I gave this to anyone.
It's
I was gonna say I can't imagine giving this to anyone, to my family to read and be like, what do you think? You're like, no.
Yeah, no, I think it's hard to find real life people who are crazy like we are. That's why we go to the internet, to find other crazy people to talk to.
Yes, that's very true. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I agree, Christy. It's hard sometimes to find, or like to figure out if these side characters are they just moving pieces and to make the world feel bigger, or are they going to be essential? And I've been feeling that about Smallweed too. Like, what is his purpose? And it sounds like he has a purpose coming up. So, yes, I will definitely keep my eye on Smallweed, Carmen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this Carmen's not her first time reading this?
It must not be. Must be at least the second time, right, Carmen? I think you've said that before. I think you're not in the minority. I think it's a 50-50 split for most people. Like, love it or hate it. So I think it's just that I have fallen on a different side than most of you, which I'm very happy for. Although I am enjoying it now. I will say that.
Yay. I'm really glad. I'm really glad. I still think, I predict that it's going to be, if not my favorite Dickens, maybe my second favorite Dickens so far. Maybe my favorite. We'll see. I am very much enjoying it too, and I'm so glad so many of you are. I'm glad Naomi is now enjoying it more.
Took me a little while, but I got there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do think that I said in a wrap-up video that it shouldn't take me 400 pages to get into a book, and I still stand by that. So I'm not going to give Bleak House 5 stars. I might not even give it 4 stars. But it's definitely not getting a 5 because of how long it took me to get invested. I feel like it's just one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to spend more than 50 pages to get invested, it's like I have other books that I can read, but I'm glad I stuck through until I'm now hooked in a regard. Yeah.
I feel like these live shows are what give me motivation to finish books that are too long. Because I'm normally now not a long book person. So thank you for doing this with me, guys.
I've stopped reading a lot of long books myself, so this has also been a good push. It's been nice for that.
Carmen says it was her first Dickens, and that is a hefty first Dickens to read.
Wow.
Yeah. Like not even A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
I feel like if this had been my first Dickens, I would have loved Dickens and maybe read more of his stuff. But I haven't liked anything else by him nearly this much. So I feel like because the flaws that are in this book were in all of the other books, but those other books didn't have, I guess, the literary quality that this one did, in my opinion. This one is just like a whole new level, in my opinion. Even though it still has the same flaws, it's also elevated, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Andy, I also read it. I've started to read and listen at the same time with this one, and I found that it helps sometimes with like the tone of a conversation, because that's not always, I think that's not always clear to a modern reader, like if this conversation between these characters is supposed to be humorous or if it's supposed to be It's not as humorous. I think sometimes the audio helps me to pick up on the tone of that section. So I've been enjoying doing that too with Bleak House.
Yeah, I felt like if I listened to it, it'd probably be too scattered for me with all the different chapters showing different people and then jumping to Esther's narrative and then going to different people again. I felt like my brain wouldn't be able to handle it. So I've just been reading it. Paul's only read A Christmas Carol before. I read that one every year at Christmas, but it's, one of the few books I'm actually keeping of Dickens. I'm now getting rid of a bunch because of this. It's just showing me I'm not a massive Dickens fan, and that's fine. And like, this is good, but he's not gonna be a favorite author, and that's okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Tale of Two Cities. Tale of Two Cities is also one of my favorites. I think it's like Tale of Two Cities and David Copperfield, and this one. And I'm not sure how they're all gonna rank next to each other, but I love Tale of Two Cities.
Are you gonna rank them in a video when you're finished, Victoria?
Only if I finish like all the Dickens novels, but that's gonna take a while. But if I ever do, yes, I will do a video. But I had high hopes of staying along with Katie's Mega Dickens read along, but I was too slow. So I did the first couple, two books. I read the Pickwick Papers and I read Oliver Twist, and then I fell off the wagon. But it's just, I can't read a Dickens a month. It's even a Dickens every 2 months. It's too fast for me. But it is a lifelong goal now.
Yeah, he does have a lot of work to read.
He has a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like that. I'm feeling like that with the Brontes. Like, I have not read Shirley, and I've not read one other one, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. And I'm like, if I read all of the Brontes, I'll do a big ranking of them all.
Yeah.
But I need to finish the other Bronte books before I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Yeah, I like having this timeline to force myself to pick up a book I wasn't eager to pick up. I think it's good. I like having our tradition now.
I'm so glad we've been doing this one slowly, because I think that's I think that's the best way to get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Oliver Twist too.
I've never read that one. Probably won't.
You know what? It's an early novel for him, and it's not like Bleak House, so it's really different. I actually think, Naomi, you might click with some of the earlier stuff, especially Oliver Twist. I think you might like.
Okay, I'll give it a shot for you.
It's very different. Like, Bleak House and Oliver Twist are very, very different in like just even the writing style as well.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's just something when like an author starts writing so young and writes for so many years, like their writing style and even like content will change over time. It's just like, I've discovered that with Agatha Christie because I've read almost all of her works now. And it's just like, there's such a difference between the beginning and the end. And I'm like, think that's the way with Dickens as well. It's just, was writing for so many years of his life. You're going to have different experiences and different experience writing itself.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not the same person writing every book, even if it's the same author. It's the person has changed.
Yeah. Well, we all do in life, so it would impact any one of us in what we're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard Tenant of Wildfell Hall is fantastic. I just, I feel like the thing about me is this, I have this fear of whenever I pick up a book that everyone loves, I'm going to hate it. And it is a thing because like even Goodreads reviews, people will be like, oh, it's just so boring. And I'll be like, I enjoyed it. So it's a thing I have. I have a phobia basically of reading books that people all love because I'm going to hate it. Like, that's why I have never finished The Other Bennett Sister. I've been trying to work my way through it because everyone loves it and I'm enjoying it, but I'm scared I'm going to hate it at the end. So I don't want to finish it. So I will get there with Tenant of Wildfell Hall. I will get there.
Yes, you can do it.
Yep. Yeah, I'm definitely an oddball. Well, I don't have anything else to add. I think it was interesting and engaging. If anyone else has something else they want to talk about, or
So what do you think, what does Esther have going on? Does she have shingles? Does she have smallpox? Does she have, like, what happened?
Right.
What is, I've been trying to figure that out.
the summary said smallpox.
Smallpox? Okay. And it left scars.
Yeah.
And so
that would make sense on why she was temporarily blinded.
Is that something that smallpox can do?
If I'm remembering right, Little House on the Prairie was also, or no, that was scarlet fever. Sorry, never mind. I think it can. I think it can impact your eyes.
Okay. I didn't have enough knowledge about smallpox to understand that that's what it was. Okay, so other people are saying it's smallpox. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been like, what disease is this that's making her temporarily blind as well?
Yeah. And smallpox does scar the face. If it's not, like, if it's that severe, I think.
Yeah.
So
I thought Esther was gonna, like, stay permanently blind when they ended on that chapter, and it was like, and she just casually drops it to Charlie. She's like, "Oh, and I think I'm blind," and I was like, that's kind of a big deal, Esther."
it's not just a side note here.
She was just so casual about it, but okay, that makes sense now.
Like, have you guys heard the story about Dickens' book or Dickens' chapter being read aloud at a dock when the ship reached North America or something?
No, what's this?
I don't remember what book it was, but it was like, because it was books were all written periodically, right? Like section by section. So when the ship got to North America, basically everyone was desperate to hear the next Dickens chapter, so they read it aloud from the ship so everyone could hear it.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, I can see why after his chapter endings, being like, can you imagine being like, oh, by the way, I think I'm blind, and then just being like, now you got to wait 6 months until you get your next story section. Like, his endings are really that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's one of those things, you're right, like where Victorians would know. Like if someone was to describe, oh, I'm so tired and I lost my sense of taste right now, everyone would know what that would be. Mm-hmm. Right? Because we've all just gone through it. Right. So in that regard, I think the Victorians would probably be like, yeah, something along those lines.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Was he coy about the explosion, the person exploding for the same reason? Everybody would have known that. People explode.
It almost sounds like a conspiracy theory almost. Like, they believe it's possible, but it doesn't happen. So how can you believe it's possible?
I don't know if you guys have seen like the newer Jumanjis, but there's a character in there whose weakness is that cake makes him explode.
That is hilarious.
I have not seen it.
Cake makes me explode. They were really funny.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They were well done.
They were well done.
I'll have to find them.
Yeah. No. That's Kevin Hart's character, so that's even more funny.
Yes. The humor in those movies, they just played it off so well.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of movies, are there Bleak House adaptations, TV or film?
There's one, at least I've seen. I'm not gonna watch it honestly because I don't want to go through another 2 hours or whatever of what I didn't care about.
You don't want to watch it.
But I saw a cover with Esther being, I think it was Esther being like the main person on the cover. So there is at least one adaptation. Okay,
I would imagine there would be. I just don't know of them.
Mm-hmm. I think it's not as like it's not the popular one to make up to remake, right? Like Oliver Twist has always been a popular one, A Christmas Carol, but I don't think Bleak House is like top of the list for adapting.
Okay, Carmen says there's a mini series, so I'll have to find it. I would like to watch it.
And Lou says there's one on Amazon.
Okay, cool.
On Prime, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, good. I have Prime, so I will look for it.
It's probably also on BritBox. I would imagine that they would have something.
Watch it. Watch along.
Oh yeah, we could do a watch along. That'd be fun.
I'd suffer 3
Depends
for
on how
you
long it
guys.
is.
I would suffer 3 for you guys.
Hi, Tony.
Yep. So there's a 2005 edition, and there's some on BritBox.
Yay! I knew that the lovely people in the comments would know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you. Okay, cool. Sounds like there's multiple to choose from.
I guess there's one last thing that I marked that I could talk about. So I feel like Dickens has, in addition to lawyers and courts, he has kind of an aversion to people who are putting politics above people.
Yes.
Kind of like prioritizing progress while not actually caring about people, because I think it was the wedding scene of Caddy where there was a bunch of people who basically had all these missions. They didn't care about each other's missions or about people, but the way he was describing them made me think this is part of his criticism, is people like Caddy's mom, you know?
Yeah. She's definitely being criticized throughout her actions. And even like from the beginning, we noticed how she was being criticized for, you know, caring about people in Africa, and yet her own children in her home aren't clothed and aren't bathed and aren't being fed, and her husband's being treated that poorly. It's like, even from the beginning, he's been criticizing that kind of, I don't know, archetype or that kind of woman who lived then, and I'm sure you could find today.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is it's a lot of, I mean, that's what makes Dickens timeless as well, is that you see the same societal issues repeat themselves throughout history and in different societies.
Exactly.
That's why it's social commentary, because as much as you can change the the culture, it's still the same people living in them. Like,
yep.
It's the same as Jane Austen's time and Victorian time. Yeah. Well, that's all I got.
Me too.
You're good, Victoria?
Anything else? I think so. We have 2 more live streams. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have 2 more discussions. Woohoo!
Yeah, and the next section is also at least 200 pages in my book. So we're going to chapter 49. That's wrong. 59. And then we're reading 60 to the end at the last one. So, yeah, it's also in the description box.
Yes.
So the last 2 weeks should be a little easier, and that way, if you are behind, you can catch up still.
Yeah. I'm
gonna try to go back to reading physically, because I had to just do audio for a while because I did get behind this time, and it's just not my favorite way of retention. I don't retain as well, so I'm like, okay, I gotta stay on top of it. So it should be doable, because I think these are smaller sections this next time.
Yeah.
Particularly for Dickens, for me as well, it's really important to read him physically, because that's what I enjoy about his writing, about his books, is his writing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think it's with his so many plot points, it's easier for me to keep it on top of it when I'm actually reading it as opposed to listening to it. Yeah. But like when I've read Great Expectations, I listened to that one, and I'll probably listen to David Copperfield, because I think that those ones are a bit more streamlined. I think a bit more easy to, like, I remember listening to Anna Karenina, and that was so hard. Wonderful, but so hard.
That would be really hard.
So that kind of thing is like with this book, with having so many characters, it's just easier to physically read for me, and then listen to books that are a bit more one group of people. Then
I listened to Oliver Twist as well, and I think his earlier works can lend themselves well to audio. I started to listen to Nicholas Nickleby, but I don't remember what happened. I just got busy with something else, I think. But like Bleak House is the first one where I'm like, yeah, I can't really hang on audio for this whole thing. Like I need to read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pickwick Papers and Oliver Twist, I was doing a lot of the audio, and that worked well. So it just depends. It depends on the Dickens era that you're in.
Yes.
I have an audiobook of David Copperfield's. Oh, from the guy who is Mr. Thornton in North and South, and I can't remember his name right now. From The Hobbit, that guy.
Oh yeah.
So he's the narrator for my David Copperfield book, and I'm like, I think that'll be worth the listen.
Wait, Andy? Oh, no, not Andy Serkis.
I don't remember what
it was. Yeah, I don't feel like he would narrate that.
He was Mr. Thornton in North and South. He was John Thornton, I think. Or Richard Armitage.
Richard Armitage.
Yeah. So that's who I have an audiobook with narrating. So I will be listening to that one, I'm sure. I'll try to do it for October, like Lou's going to do. If I can commit to reading David Copperfield in a month.
I think David Copperfield would work on audio pretty well. Yeah, Kaylee just reread Bleak House. I remember seeing her video about it. Yay, another Team Bleak House person. We are really enjoying it too.
Yay.
Yeah, I think everyone, for the most part, has enjoyed it. Or it's like a 95% success rate right now. Because I'm the 5%.
You're the 5%.
Yes and no. I will get there. But yes. Well, if that's all and everyone doesn't have anything else that they'd like us to discuss, we'll sign off. We'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks, and we'll be almost done. I can't believe that.
Yeah. Thank you for arranging all this, Naomi.
Anytime, even if I am not loving the book. It's a good push. So yeah. Well, We'll see you all in 2 weeks then.
Okay. Thanks,
have a good time
everybody.
reading.
Thanks for
Bye.
listening.